All right, so this is a freshly harvested rabbit, and I'm going to show you how to butcher it, butcher it from start to finish, including some of the innards like the heart, the heart, the liver, and kidneys. So this rabbit was just freshly harvested. When we harvest rabbits, we put it right in cold vinegar water as soon as it's done being harvested, and it soaks in that, and so it goes through the first washing that way, and then I come in and make more vinegar water. And the reason why you want to use vinegar water is two reasons. One, it helps to clean the meat, like if any urine or feces got on it. Also, it helps the fur to just slip right off. So I'll just run my hands on it like this to try to get the fur off if there's any excess fur, which does happen. And then I'll bring it over and I'll start butchering it. Okay, so I just start with the legs first, and then I work my way kind of inwards. You can just freeze it whole, or just go ahead and cook it whole, which I do that for like rabbit and dumplings or whatever. But if you want to cut it up for baked pieces or fried pieces, this is definitely the way to go. So the shoulder is really easy because it's not connected to any bones. It's basically just tendon and meat, and so it is super easy to cut out. Usually if you just kind of come along underneath that bone there, then it just comes off pretty easy. Another thing you can do too is just kind of clean up some of that stuff you don't want, that's hanging out from here. But this is actual meat, so it's really just kind of fine, but you can clean it up more if you want. All right, so again, we're gonna come underneath that shoulder blade, and this is a young rabbit, so the meat is really tender, but if you have an older rabbit, it's gonna be a little bit tougher, but this is super easy to do because it's so young. Okay, and now what I wanna do is, there's a piece of fur, is I wanna try to separate that a little there. And I'm gonna come and get underneath that hip bone. You can kind of see where it is. So you just wanna kind of come up behind that and just kind of follow the line where you see it. Oops, slippery. And if you separated it correctly, it should not be connected anymore. And that's just how easy that is. So again, you're gonna see where that hip bone there is, or where, whatever you want to call that right there. And you're just going to kind of cut around that and go along with the line. You'll see the line. Okay. And some people don't keep this part. I do when I'm canning, because it just turns into tender meat like the rest of it when I can it. Also, when I leave it whole, I'll leave it on there. It is actual usable meat. But I even keep it when I'm cutting it up to fry, because what I'll do is I'll roll that piece up and, dredge it in batter and just fry it rolled up. And it's really good. So it's really beneficial, I think, to go ahead and keep that instead of, throwing it away. Okay, so on the back, there's actually a lot of meat kind of inside here and in the back part. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll cut this skin up to this last rib bone, and I'll go underneath the rib bone down to the vertebrae. Okay, and I'll do that on both sides. And then I'll just break that backbone right there where that's at. That way I can cut through it easier and not, mess up my knife. Okay. So there you've got a good chunk. You can fry that. And so we're gonna go in here and kind of cut along the edges of where the ends of the rib cage is. That's what I do, and I try to get some of this meat that's still over here on the ribs as well. Careful not to cut yourself. I try to peel it back to go with it because I like to try to harvest as much of the meat as possible. So just kind of go along where the edge of the rib bones are so you don't get the bones in there. And everyone's kind of got their own way. I guess you'll find your own way once you get in here and really start learning how to do it. Now, I also do not throw these away. I actually will keep it and use it to make stock with. So I'll just, if I'm butchering them up like this, I will put these in a Ziploc bag and freeze them until I have enough of them to go ahead and make stock or have time. But yeah, I just try to get that meat off of there. Sometimes when they're older, like I was saying, it's harder. So yeah, that's gonna go in the freezer. So now you've got your flanks, and you can dread that in flour, roll them up, and fry them just like that. It's really good. And of course you can do the same with all of it. So now you've got a processed rabbit. You can freeze it or cook it right away. Okay, so one of the parts that I nearly left out is kind of how to clean up the liver. I actually like to leave my liver just kind of whole, but you can, there's a little bit of it. It's not too tough when you cook it. Really, it's not. This little connection piece here, but you can actually cut the meat away from it. It's super easy. You just kind of cut on the outer edge of that little piece that connects it in the middle. You can kind of see it. It's almost like kind of like a tendon, but it's softer. But again, it's really not hard, so I just keep it together and cook it that way. But everyone has their own preference. So that's how you do that, you know, so you can get rid of this little piece right here. And then on the heart, of course, when it was processed, the stuff was cut away, but there's still a little bit here. So you just want to kind of cut that stuff off the top of the heart. And the kidneys, it's got that little string there. You wanna try to get away that fat and get close in there as you can. You can see where it's connected, and you just kind of get in there as close as you can and pinch it and pull, and it just comes right off. And just do the same with your second one. Kind of get that fat off and gather it together, and then pinch it and pull. And that's how you do it. Simple as ever. And of course, you know, you can always fry this or do whatever you do with liver, make pate or whatever. And that's it.